The wedding ring was tacky, gold-plated with a tiny fake diamond that probably came from a vending machine. But it was also very, very real, sitting on Essence Williams's left hand like an accusation. She stared at it, then at the marriage certificate on her hotel nightstand, then at the empty space in the bed beside her where a man whose name she could barely remember had apparently slept. Min-Seok, she read aloud from the certificate, her voice hoarse from last night's screaming in clubs. I married someone named Min-Seok in Vegas, while drunk off my ass. Her best friend Keisha burst through the connecting hotel room door. Girl, please tell me you didn't actually... She stopped, staring at the ring. Oh my God, you did. You actually married that fine-ass Korean man from the casino. I don't even remember his face clearly. Honey, I remember his face. He looked like a K-drama villain, all sharp cheekbones and dangerous eyes. Y'all were all over each other. Then you both disappeared around 2 a.m. and I just assumed... Keisha picked up the marriage certificate. But marriage? Essence, what the hell? I don't know. We were drunk. He was sad about something. I was sad about Marcus. We started drinking together and daring each other to do stupid stuff and... She stopped, a memory flickering. There was a chapel. With an Elvis. Oh, this is bad. This is fine. I'll just get it annulled. It was clearly a drunken mistake. That's what annulments are for. Before we go further, hit like and subscribe. You won't want to miss what happens next. But it actually began 18 hours earlier. Essence had not wanted to come to Vegas. Her music career was stalling. Again. 3 years of trying to make it in Atlanta's competitive music scene, and she was still playing dive bars for tips while working retail to pay rent. Her engagement to Marcus had imploded spectacularly when she'd caught him in bed with another woman. And the last thing she wanted was to celebrate her best friend's upcoming wedding when her own life felt like a train wreck. But Keisha had insisted. You need this trip. You need to let loose. Forget about Marcus. And remember you're a bad bitch who doesn't need a man or a record deal to be amazing. So Essence had come to Vegas with Keisha, Monique, and Jasmine. 4 black women from Atlanta ready to tear up the strip. The first day was perfect. Pool parties, shopping, expensive dinners they couldn't really afford. Essence felt herself starting to relax, to remember who she was before Marcus had made her doubt everything. The second night, they hit the casino at the Bellagio. Blackjack, Monique declared. We're playing blackjack and we're winning big. They didn't win big. They lost $300 collectively and retreated to the bar, laughing about their terrible gambling skills. That's where Essence saw him. Korean man, probably early 30s, sitting alone at the bar with a glass of whiskey and the kind of face that belonged on magazine covers. Sharp features, perfectly styled black hair, expensive suit that screamed money. But it was his expression that caught her attention. Devastated, lost, like he was drowning and didn't care who saw. She recognized that look. She'd seen it in her own mirror for weeks after Marcus. You look like you're either celebrating or dying inside, Essence said, sliding onto the stool next to him. Liquid courage from the vodka sodas made her bold. He looked up, and his eyes were dark, sharp, dangerous. Dying inside. Definitely dying inside. Same. She raised her glass. To dying inside in Vegas. To dying inside, he echoed, and they clinked glasses. His name was Min-Seok, or just call me Min, he said. His English was excellent, barely accented. He was in Vegas for a business convention that was clearly code for something else. She was in Vegas escaping her life. My fiancé cheated on me, Essence admitted after her 3rd drink. Caught him in our bed with someone else. Apparently I was too focused on my music career to properly appreciate him. My family wants me to marry someone I've never met, Min-Seok countered, ordering another round. For business, like I'm a chess piece they can move around. That's archaic. That's my life. He smiled, but it was bitter. Though right now in Vegas, I can pretend it's not. They drank more, talked more, laughed about terrible exes and family pressure and dreams that felt impossible. At some point, Keisha came to check on Essence, took one look at Min-Seok, and whispered, "Girl, he's fine. Get it." Then disappeared. "Your friend has good taste," Min-Seok observed. "She's not wrong. You are fine. You're beautiful, like dangerously beautiful. I can't stop staring at you." The alcohol made Essence brave. "Then don't stop." What happened next was a blur of tequila shots, dancing at a club where the bass made her ribs vibrate, Min-Seok's hands on her waist, his mouth on her neck, both of them laughing like they'd known each other for years instead of hours. "Let's do something crazy," Min-Seok said around 2 a.m., his eyes bright with alcohol and recklessness. "Something we'll regret tomorrow." "How crazy?" "Let's get married." Essence laughed. "That's insane." "Exactly. When's the last time you did something insane?" "Never. I'm the responsible one. I'm the girl who follows the rules and gets punished for it anyway." "Then break the rules. Marry me. Right now. In Vegas. We'll regret it tomorrow, but tonight. Tonight we'll be rebels." It was the alcohol talking. It was the heartbreak and the recklessness, and the way he looked at her like she was the most interesting person in the world. But Essence heard herself say, "Okay, let's do it." The chapel was tacky, plastic flowers, an Elvis impersonator as the officiant, fluorescent lighting that made everything look cheap. But Min-Seok held her hands and looked at her like this was real. And when Elvis said, "You may kiss the bride," the kiss was soft and sweet and tasted like tequila and bad decisions. They signed papers. Legal papers that drunk Essence didn't read properly. And when they stumbled back to Min-Seok's hotel room at 4 a.m., they fell into bed laughing, kissing, and finally sleeping tangled together like newlyweds who actually knew each other. Essence woke at noon to an empty bed and a pounding headache. No note. No Min-Seok. Just a cheap wedding ring and a marriage certificate that said they were legally married in the state of Nevada. "Fuck," she whispered. Back in Atlanta, Essence tried to forget. She called the Vegas chapel, explained the situation. They were sympathetic, but firm. "The marriage is legal, ma'am. You both signed the documents. You'll need to file for annulment or divorce through the proper legal channels." She researched annulment requirements. Nevada required both parties to consent. And Min-Seok had vanished. Checked out of his hotel, left no contact information beyond what was on the marriage certificate. "I'll just file anyway," Essence told Keisha. "He clearly doesn't want to be married either. He'll sign when the papers find him." "You hope?" "He has to. This was a drunken mistake for both of us." 3 weeks passed. Essence filed the annulment paperwork, sent it to the address listed on Min-Seok's documentation, some business in Seoul. She went back to her life, working retail, playing dive bars, trying to write songs about heartbreak that didn't mention Vegas or mysterious Korean men with sad eyes. Then, on a Tuesday evening, someone knocked on her apartment door. Essence opened it to find him standing there. Min-Seok, sober, dressed in an expensive suit that made the Vegas one look cheap, flanked by 2 large men in black who looked like they broke people for a living. His expression was unreadable, no trace of the laughing, reckless man from Vegas. "Hello, wife," he said calmly. "We need to talk." Essence's mouth opened, closed. No sound came out. "May I come in? Or would you prefer to have this conversation in the hallway where your neighbors can hear?" She stepped aside numbly. He entered like he owned the place, the 2 guards staying in the hallway. In her small Atlanta apartment, Min-Seok looked enormous, dangerous, completely out of place. "What are you doing here?" Essence finally managed. "Stopping you from annulling our marriage." He pulled papers from his jacket, her annulment filing. "I received these. I'm denying them." You're what? I'm refusing to consent to the annulment, which means we stay married. Are you insane? We got drunk married in Vegas. This was a mistake. For you, maybe. For me? His smile was sharp. It's the solution to a very expensive problem. He explained it then, calmly and methodically. The Baeko clan, one of Korea's most powerful organized crime families. His position as the heir who was being pressured into a political marriage with a rival boss's daughter. The fact that their Vegas marriage had given him an out. You're telling me you're in the Korean Mafia? I prefer organized businessman, but yes, essentially. And you want to stay married to me, a woman you met once while drunk, to avoid marrying someone else? Exactly. And in exchange for this inconvenience, I'll pay you $500,000 when we divorce after 1 year. Plus room and board in Seoul, a monthly allowance, and complete freedom to pursue your music career without financial stress. Essence sat down hard on her couch. This is insane. This is business, and mutually beneficial business at that. Min-Seok sat across from her, perfectly composed. You're a struggling musician with retail jobs and student loan debt. I'm offering you financial security and the chance to focus on your art for a year. All you have to do is live in Seoul, appear as my wife at necessary functions, and tolerate my company. After 12 months, we divorce, you get your money, and we both move on with our lives. Why would I agree to this? Because you need the money. Because your music career is going nowhere in Atlanta. Because what do you really have to lose? His eyes held hers. 1 year, Essence. Give me 1 year and I'll change your life. You don't even know me. I know you're brave enough to marry a stranger in Vegas. That's all I need to know. He pulled out a contract, because of course he'd brought a contract. Read it. Take your time. But know that if you refuse, I'll still block the annulment. We're married whether you cooperate or not. I'm just offering to make it worth your while. After he left, with instructions to call him within 48 hours, Essence sat with the contract and a bottle of wine and tried to make sense of her life. Married to a Korean mafia boss, offered $500,000 to pretend for a year. The chance to finally focus on music without worrying about rent. It was insane. It was also the best offer she'd gotten in years. Fuck it, she said to her empty apartment. What's the worst that could happen? Seoul hit Essence like a culture shock freight train. The language barrier, the food, the crowds, the subway system that made no sense, the stares from Koreans who'd clearly never seen a black woman in person. She felt simultaneously hypervisible and completely invisible. Min-Seok's apartment, no, penthouse, was in Hanam-dong, overlooking the Han River. Obscene luxury that made her Atlanta apartment look like a closet. Her bedroom alone was bigger than her entire previous living space. Mrs. Kang will help you settle in, Min-Seok said, introducing her to a stern older woman who would apparently manage the household. She speaks some English. If you need anything, tell her or tell me. Where's your room? Down the hall, don't worry. I'm not expecting conjugal rights. This is a business arrangement. Good. Because that's not happening. Noted. But his smile suggested he found her defensiveness amusing. The first week was disorienting. Essence barely left the penthouse, overwhelmed by everything. Mrs. Kang tried to teach her basic Korean phrases. Min-Seok was gone most days, doing business he never elaborated on, returning late with exhaustion written in every line of his body. You're really in the Mafia, Essence said one night when he came home past midnight. I really am. Is it like the movies? Violence and territory wars and... Sometimes. Mostly it's boring business meetings and managing money and maintaining relationships. The violence is rare. He poured himself whiskey. Why? Having second thoughts? I'm having all the thoughts. I'm in a foreign country, married to a man I barely know, living a life that feels like fiction. Welcome to my existence. He raised his glass. Though usually my wife isn't this honest about finding it strange. Why me? Essence asked. Really? You could have married anyone in Vegas. Why did you actually go through with it? Min-Seok was quiet for a long moment. Because you were real. Everyone in my life wears masks, even me. But that night, drunk and reckless, you were just Essence. A woman with dreams and heartbreak and fire. I hadn't met anyone real in years. And when I woke up married to you, my first thought wasn't regret. It was relief. That's not a good reason to trap someone in a fake marriage. I know, but it's the honest reason. He met her eyes. I'm not a good man, Essence. I'm selfish and manipulative, and I use people, but I'll keep my promises to you. 1 year, $500,000, then freedom, that I can give you. The first month was an education in being a Mafia wife. Essence attended dinners with dangerous men who smiled while discussing violence. She learned to sit quietly, smile appropriately, and let the men talk business while their wives discuss shopping and gossip. She learned that as Min-Seok's wife, she had status. People bowed to her, treated her with respect tinged with fear. They're scared of you, she told Min-Seok after one particularly tense dinner. They're scared of what I represent. The Baeko clan isn't the biggest, but we're the most strategic. I've built alliances across Asia. That makes me valuable and dangerous. And me? You're my wife. That makes you untouchable. Anyone who harms you declares war on me. His hand found hers across the car's back seat. You're safe here, Essence. I promise. But safe felt relative when she noticed the bodyguards who followed her everywhere. When she heard whispered conversations in Korean that stopped when she entered rooms. When Min-Seok came home with bruises, he wouldn't explain. This life isn't what I expected, she admitted one night. They'd fallen into a routine of late-night conversations, her unable to sleep in a foreign country, him too wired from work to rest. What did you expect? I don't know. More drama? More danger? It's somehow both boring and terrifying. That's organized crime in a nutshell. He smiled. Though if you're bored, I could teach you Korean. Help you feel less isolated. You'd do that? I'm your husband. Fake husband, but still. I want you to be comfortable here. So Min-Seok started teaching her Korean in the evenings. Basic phrases, cultural context, how to navigate Seoul without him. And Essence found herself looking forward to those lessons. The way he patiently corrected her pronunciation. The way he laughed when she mangled words. The way his eyes warmed when she got something right. You're a good teacher, she said one night. You're a good student. And your accent is improving. Liar, I sound terrible. You sound like an American speaking Korean. That's not terrible, just different. He paused. Tell me about your music. You said you wanted to be a singer, but you never talk about it. So Essence told him. About growing up in Atlanta's church choir. About her mother who'd sung gospel. About the dreams of making it in R&B that had slowly died under the weight of rejection and bills. About songs she'd written but never recorded because studio time cost money she didn't have. Sing for me, Min-Seok said. What? Sing. One of your songs. I want to hear what you sacrificed for this year with me. Essence almost refused, but something in his expression, genuine interest, not pity, made her start singing. An R&B ballad she'd written about heartbreak and hope, her voice filling the quiet penthouse. When she finished, Min-Seok was staring at her like he'd seen something miraculous. You're incredibly talented, he said quietly. Like, genuinely, professionally talented. Why aren't you famous? Because talent isn't enough. You need luck and money and connections. You have connections now. I know people in Korea's music industry. K-R&B is huge here. I could make calls, get you studio time, introduce you to producers. No? Why not? Because that's not what this arrangement is about. I'm not using you for career favors. I'm taking your money in exchange for playing wife. That's the deal. The deal is whatever we decide it is. He leaned forward. Essence, you have real talent. Let me help you use it. Not as payment, not as obligation. Just as… what? Your fake husband who wants to see you succeed? Why do you care? Because you're here because of me. The least I can do is make sure this year isn't wasted. That you get something beyond money, like the career you deserve. It should have felt like manipulation, like him buying her compliance with career opportunities. Instead, it felt like kindness from someone who understood ambition. I'll think about it, Essence said. That's all I ask. Month 3 brought complications. Min-Seok's family wanted to meet the wife who'd appeared from nowhere. His mother, father, and younger sister arrived at the penthouse for dinner, and the tension was immediate. So you're the American, his mother said in English, looking Essence up and down with cold assessment. Min-Seok married you in Las Vegas and Vegas. How unconventional. It was spontaneous, Essence replied, keeping her voice level. Clearly, you're very different from the women we'd selected for him. Because she's black? Essence said bluntly, tired of the veiled racism. Min-Seok's mother had the grace to look slightly embarrassed. Because she's not Korean and not from our world. My son is the Baekho heir. His marriage should strengthen the clan, not complicate it. I think I'm doing just fine at complicating things, Essence shot back. Min-Seok's sister, Hana, actually laughed. I like her. She's got fire. Hana, their mother warned. What? Min-Seok's been miserable for years, doing everything you and father demanded. Maybe marrying someone he actually chose, even if it was drunk in Vegas, is the best thing he's ever done. We'll discuss this privately, their father said, his first words of the evening. Cold, authoritative, dangerous. Min-Seok, my office. Now. After they left, Hana leaned toward Essence. Don't let them intimidate you. They're angry because they can't control you. That's powerful. I don't feel powerful. I feel like an imposter. You're his wife. That makes you Baekho. Own it. When Min-Seok returned from his father's office, his face was carefully blank. After his family left, Essence found him on the balcony, staring at Seoul's lights with a drink in his hand. That bad? She asked, joining him. They want me to divorce you. Offered to pay you double what I'm paying if you'll agree to a quick annulment and disappear. Essence's stomach dropped. Are you going to? No. He said it firmly, without hesitation. We made a deal. 1 year. I keep my promises. Even when your family threatens you? Especially then. He looked at her, and something in his eyes made her breath catch. You're my wife, Essence. Fake or real, that means something. I protect what's mine. I'm not yours. For 11 more months, you are. And I don't let my family bully me into abandoning what's mine. The possessiveness should have bothered her. Instead, it made something warm unfurl in her chest. Something dangerous that felt like the beginning of real feelings. The shift happened in month 5. They'd fallen into a rhythm. Late-night conversations, Korean lessons, dinners together when his schedule allowed. Min-Seok introduced her to producers like he'd promised, and Essence found herself recording demos in Seoul's best studios. The music scene in Korea embraced her in ways Atlanta never had. Her voice, her style, her Black American R&B sensibility was exotic and fresh. You have 3 labels interested, Min-Seok told her one evening, grinning like a proud husband. Real deals, Essence. This could be it. Because of you, because of your connections, because of your talent. I just opened doors. You're the one walking through them." He paused. "Are you happy? Here, I mean, in Seoul." "I am," Essence admitted, surprised by how true it was. "I didn't expect to be, but I am. This city is growing on me. The food, the people, even the language I'm butchering. You're not butchering it. You're learning." His hand found hers, and the touch felt natural now. Comfortable. "I'm happy too. Happier than I've been in years. Because of you." "Min-Seok?" "I know what this is. I know it's fake. But Essence, somewhere in the past 5 months, it stopped feeling fake for me. You're not just a convenient wife anymore. You're someone I look forward to coming home to. Someone who makes this life bearable. Someone I'm falling for despite knowing I shouldn't." Essence's breath caught. "We can't. This was supposed to be business." "I know, but feelings don't care about business arrangements." He stood, moving to the balcony railing. "You don't have to feel the same. I just needed you to know that when this year ends and we divorce, it's going to destroy me. Because somewhere along the way, this stopped being fake." She should have reinforced the boundaries. Should have reminded him this was temporary. Instead, she crossed to him, put her hand on his arm, and said, "It stopped being fake for me too. I don't know when, but it did. And that terrifies me." He turned to face her, his eyes searching hers. "What do we do?" "I don't know, but we have 7 months left. Maybe we just see where this goes? See if what we're feeling is real or just proximity and convenience. And if it's real, then we figure it out, together." He kissed her then, soft, tentative, asking permission with every movement. And Essence kissed him back, letting herself fall into feelings she'd been fighting for months. It was the beginning of something that should have stayed fake, but had become devastatingly real. The next 4 months were the happiest of Essence's life. They stopped pretending, stopped maintaining separate bedrooms, stopped calling it a business arrangement. Min-Seok courted her properly, dates around Seoul, weekend trips to Jeju Island, introducing her to parts of his world beyond the criminal enterprise. "I'm still a bad man," he told her one night. "I do terrible things for my family business. That doesn't change." "I know, and I'm choosing you anyway. That probably makes me a bad woman." "It makes you mine." He pulled her close. "And I'm yours. Completely, desperately yours." Essence signed with a Korean label. Her first single, a fusion of R&B and K-pop, hit the charts, and suddenly she was being interviewed, performing on music shows, living the dream she'd given up on in Atlanta. "None of this would have happened without you," she told Min-Seok. "All of this happened because of you, your talent, your hard work. I just happened to be your accidental Vegas husband who could make a few calls. My accidental Vegas husband who I'm stupidly in love with." "Stupidly?" "So stupidly. You're in the Mafia, Min-Seok. I'm supposed to run from that, not fall for it. And yet here you are, my wife, my love, the woman who makes everything make sense." They had 9 months, then 10, then 11. The divorce date approached, and neither of them mentioned it. They'd fallen into playing house, into a life that felt so real it was easy to forget it had started as a drunken mistake. Then, 2 weeks before their 1-year anniversary, everything fell apart. Min-Seok's ex-fiancée, the rival boss's daughter he'd avoided marrying, showed up at their penthouse. Beautiful, ruthless, and clearly not over being rejected. "So you're the American he chose over me," Park Ji-woo said, looking Essence up and down with cold calculation. "The Vegas mistake." "I'm his wife," Essence corrected. "For now. But this marriage was always temporary, wasn't it? A 1-year arrangement. And that year is almost up. Did he tell you what happens next? Essence's stomach dropped. What are you talking about? Min-Seok and I had an understanding. He avoids marrying me for 1 year, keeps his family happy with his love marriage, then divorces you and fulfills his duty to the clan. It was always the plan. Surely you knew. Jiwoo, that's enough, Min-Seok said, appearing in the doorway. His face was carefully blank. Leave. Now. I'm just telling your wife the truth. You used her to buy time. Sweet, really. Though I suppose she got her money and her music career, so everyone wins. Jiwoo smiled. See you at the divorce proceedings, Essence. And at the wedding afterward. Min-Seok's real wedding. To me. After she left, the silence was deafening. Is it true? Essence asked quietly. Did you promise to marry her after we divorced? It's complicated. That's not an answer. Before Vegas, yes, there were discussions about me eventually marrying Jiwoo to strengthen clan alliances. But Essence, that was before I knew you. Before I fell in love with you. Everything changed. But you didn't tell me. You let me believe this year was just about buying your freedom, not buying time before another marriage. Because I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't know how to admit that I'd trapped you in a situation that was more complicated than you understood. So you lied by omission. You let me fall in love with you while knowing there were expectations you hadn't mentioned. Essence felt tears burning. I trusted you, Min-Seok. I gave up my life in Atlanta, moved to Seoul, fell in love with you, and it was all based on a partial truth. It wasn't a lie. I love you, Essence. That's the truest thing in my life. But you are still planning to divorce me and marry her. That's the plan, isn't it? That's what your family expects. What I expect is to stay married to you. His voice rose. To tell my family and Jiwoo and everyone else to go to hell because I choose you. But I didn't know how to tell you there would be consequences. That choosing you means breaking alliances, possibly starting a clan war. That loving you might cost people their lives. The weight of it hit Essence like a truck. This isn't just about family pressure. This is about safety, about violence. Yes, if I refuse to marry Jiwoo, her father will see it as an insult. We're talking about powerful, dangerous people who resolve disputes with blood. And you'd be the reason for the insult. You'd be a target. So your choices are divorce me and marry her to keep the peace, or keep me and start a war. Those aren't my only choices. There are no other choices, Min-Seok. Not in your world. You've always known this would end. That we'd have our year, and then reality would force us apart. You just didn't want to admit it. That's not true. Isn't it? Essence's tears fell freely now. We got drunk married in Vegas by accident. You turned it into a business arrangement. We fell in love despite our best efforts. But none of that changes the reality. You're Baekho. I'm an American musician, and your world was never going to let us be. So what are you saying? I'm saying maybe Jiwoo is right. Maybe it's time to end this before anyone gets hurt. Before your clan war starts over someone like me. Before I become the reason people die. She pulled off the tacky Vegas wedding ring she'd been wearing for almost a year. We had our year. We got what we needed from each other. Now let's end it cleanly. No. Min-Seok's voice broke. Essence, please. Don't do this. We can figure it out. We can find a way. There is no way, baby. Not in your world. And I love you too much to be the reason people get hurt. She set the ring on the table. File the divorce papers. Marry Jiwoo. Keep your family happy. I'll go back to Atlanta with my music career and your money and the memory of the best accidental marriage anyone's ever had. You're really leaving. I have to. She moved toward their bedroom to pack. Before I change my mind. Before I convince myself love is enough when we both know it's not. Epilogue. 6 months later, The divorce had been finalized in Korea, while Essence was back in Atlanta. Quick, efficient, no drama beyond the heartbreak. Her music career had exploded. The single she'd recorded in Seoul went viral internationally. She'd signed with a major US label, was touring, was living the dream she'd always wanted. And she was miserable. Because every success reminded her of Min-Seok. Every stage performance made her think of him in the audience. Every contract signing made her remember his proud smile when she'd first signed with the Korean label. She'd done the right thing. Walking away had prevented a clan war, had let Min-Seok keep his alliances. She'd sacrificed their relationship for peace, and that was noble and selfless and completely devastating. "You look like hell," Keisha said, visiting Essence's new Atlanta condo, bought with the divorce settlement. "The music career is popping, but you're dying inside." "I'm fine." "You're in love with your ex-fake husband who turned out to be a real husband who you had to leave to save his life." "That's not fine. That's a whole Tyler Perry movie." "There's nothing I can do. He's in Seoul. I'm here. It's over." The knock on the door interrupted them. Essence opened it to find Min-Seok standing there, looking exhausted and determined and perfect. "What are you doing here?" she breathed. "Fighting for my wife." He stepped inside without waiting for permission. "Ex-wife, technically, but I'm here to fix that." "Min-Seok, we talked about this. You need to marry Ji-woo. Your family." "I told my family to go to hell. I told Ji-woo to find someone else. I'm stepping down as Beko heir and transferring leadership to my sister, who's better at it anyway." His hands framed her face. "I'm done letting other people decide my life. I'm done sacrificing what matters for clan politics. And what matters is you. But the alliance is being maintained differently." Hana negotiated a business partnership instead of a marriage. Turns out, people are willing to be flexible when the alternative is losing access to our resources. He smiled. "I'm not completely free of the family business, but I'm free enough. Free to live where I want, love who I want. And I want you, Essence Williams. My accidental Vegas bride who became my everything. You gave up being heir. For me. I gave up a title I never wanted for a life I actually want. With you. Wherever you want to be, Atlanta, Seoul, anywhere. I'm yours if you'll have me." Essence's tears fell freely. "You're serious. You actually walked away." "I've been walking toward you since Vegas. Just took me a while to realize I didn't need permission." He pulled out a ring, not the tacky Vegas one, but a beautiful diamond that caught the light. "Marry me. Really marry me. Not drunk, not by accident, but on purpose. Because I love you and I choose you, and I want to spend my life making up for how badly I handled our first year." "That's not how proposals work. We're already divorced." "Then marry me again. Let me court you properly. Date you. Propose sober in Atlanta instead of drunk in Vegas. Let me be your husband for real this time." Keisha, still sitting on the couch, stage whispered, "Girl, if you don't say yes, I will." Essence laughed through tears. "You're insane. Leaving your family empire for a woman you married by accident. You're worth more than any empire. Say yes, Essence. Give me a second chance to be your husband properly." "Yes." She kissed him, tasting salt and promise and the future they'd almost lost. "Yes to all of it. To dating. To proposals. To marrying you again. To building a life that's not fake or accidental. Just real. Thank you," he murmured against her lips. "For giving me a second chance at our first mistake. Best mistake I ever made. Mine too." Later, after Keisha left, "I'm not being a third wheel to y'all's reunion, you." Essence and Min-Seok lay tangled together on her couch, talking about the future. "I can't believe you walked away from the clan," she said. "I can't believe it took me 6 months to do it. I should have fought for you when you left Seoul. You're fighting now. That's what matters. I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret our Vegas mistake. I never regretted it, not even when it hurt, because it led me to you. Drunk Elvis chapel weddings really are magical. Shut up and kiss me, ex-Mafia boss. Technically still Mafia adjacent. I'm helping Hana as a consultant. Okay, Mafia consultant. Kiss me anyway. He did. And Essence thought about the past year. About Vegas and Seoul and heartbreak and hard choices. About a drunken mistake that became a business arrangement that became real love. About how sometimes the worst decisions lead to the best destinations. And about how she'd marry this man 100 more times, drunk or sober, by accident or on purpose, because some people are worth every mistake, every complication, every crazy twist. I love you, she whispered. I love you too, Min-Seok replied. My accidental wife, my purpose wife, my forever wife. Even if we have to get married a third time to make it official? Especially then, though maybe we skip the Elvis impersonator this time. Where's your sense of romance? It's reserved for you and only you. And in Atlanta, far from Seoul and Vegas and the lives they'd left behind, two people who'd started with a drunken mistake built something real. Love that survived divorce, distance, and family empires. Love that was worth fighting for. Love that started accidentally and became absolutely inevitable. The end. Would you marry a stranger in Vegas? Could you forgive the lies? Tell me in the comments. Subscribe now, because the next story is even wilder and you won't want to miss it.